What did the film show from Saturday? Were you happy with what you saw?
We were happy. I think there's a lot of room for growth. Some of the things that we focused on was just, penalties. And that's kind of been back-to-back weeks where we got to make sure we limit those penalties. We had we had overall 4 penalties that took, I think it was 129 yards off the board, 14 points. So we got to make sure, right, we're playing clean football in between the whistles. So that was one of the big stressing points. We played really hard. I think we can never stop that. That's something that's kind of been the DNA that we got to keep making sure that every single Saturday we show up and play extremely hard.
Talk about the offensive line and just what they've done the last couple weeks since the bye. It's been pretty impressive.
Very impressive. It's a group that's very, very unified, I think is the biggest way to put it. There was a lot of things that we did. We made adjustments to, or from players and coaches' ideas from that standpoint. So for them to also adjust, because in the second half they got into some stuff that they hadn't really showed on tape. So I thought their adjustments has been really good, and then their ability just to all be on the same page. Because like I said, every week we're going to see stuff that has never been shown, and they did that, right? And I thought the O-line did a really good job of communicating that through.
What are your thoughts on Georgia State? What do you see on film from them?
Talented group. I mean, you look at their schedule, they've played a really hard schedule so far, right? They've played 2 SEC teams. So I think it's a team, right, coming back where they're going to be in their, their home turf. It's going to be a team that plays really hard. I think their 2 interior tackles are good. They have a really good boundary corner. I think their linebackers are physical. So it's, we got to make sure we're ready to play.
I know you just touched on Georgia State's schedule. That's something that Coach Chesney was talking about yesterday, and you kind of have to preach that you have to throw the record out the window a little bit. How do you kind of go when preparing? Like, what do you take from that film and what do you not take from that film, just based on how good of the teams that they've played?
Yeah, I mean, they've played Ole Miss, which is a top 25 team. Vanderbilt's a top 25 team. So you just look at that. Those are 2 great football teams. Obviously, they've had a really hard schedule up to point. They played Memphis, who's a really good football team, hard, and they beat Murray State. So you can't, any game you can't look at the record, right? The record really doesn't mean anything, because in college football, any given day, someone can beat someone, right? So I think when you look at that, of what you're taking out of the game, is you're taking that it's a team that's that's going to be extremely, extremely hungry, right? It's one of their few games that they've had in their home stadium, right? Where we're not playing in Bridgeport, so we got to make sure we come out with everything that we have.
You guys offensively had to rely on Wayne and Jordan over the weekend. What did you like out of what they were able to do kind of as a duo?
They're a duo that offer, they're 2 different styles of runners, right? I think they obviously got the same result of how they attack things, but they're 2 different styles of runners that I think it's a great, 1-2 combo that we had this past Saturday of different styles of running. Obviously, Wayne can do some stuff out of the backfield, so can Fuller, but I think that was the biggest thing, is that it just puts a lot of stress on the defense of that, running similar plays with the 2. It's not like we're putting this guy in for that play, or this guy or the other guy in for this play, but the different style of running. I thought what they did a great job was the yards really after contact, right? And Jordan's yards after contact were different than Wayne's yards after contact. So that was probably the biggest thing that you saw from them, in my opinion.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, I know a theme during the preseason was the depth on the offense, and it seems like we're kind of seeing that play out. So just when you have 2 guys out and then there's 2 guys ready just to step in like that, and the offense isn't able to skip a beat, what does that just kind of mean collectively for the group?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys have been saying, it's been a room full of depth all year, and we've been saying that's a room that takes a beating, right? Very rarely do you see that whole position group make it in any college football, the NFL, wherever it is, make it through the whole season. And so just really their preparation that they've had, whether they were the 5th guy in the depth chart, the 4th guy, the 1st guy, the 2nd guy, it's all about how they've prepared week in and week out to treat themselves like they are the starter, even though they may not have got the carries or the playing time that they wanted. So I think a lot goes into of how they've handled themselves when they haven't been quote unquote the guy, so that when their time does come, it was like they didn't skip a beat. And that's what you really saw all the way, and you're going off the stats of how much yards were rushed for. We're about with the pass protection. They did some really good things on 3rd down this past Saturday. A lot of things that gave us, that we stressed a lot through practice, that broke some of our rules that we had to change. So all those little things that you see that don't show up on stat sheets that showed up on this past Saturday, that was one of the most impressive parts in my eyes, because that comes with reps, right? And when you have a room full of, you got a lot of depth in a room, you may not get all those reps in fall camp. So that was the biggest thing, of just preparing like you're the starter, so when your time does come, you don't skip a beat, which they did.
On Saturday, Lakota was talking about just how much fun he's had playing in your offense and moving around within your offense. What is he and his versatility kind of brought to your offense?
Yeah, first thing is that human being, that individual plays with so much passion, right? You can tell that this game means so much to him. You see when he catches the football. You see when he makes an amazing block. Like, he just gets everybody. He sparks this offense, and he sparks this program in a way that a lot of people don't understand, and he plays with that. And I think having that versatility where you have someone that is willing to dig out a 3 technique, is going to block a nose tackle, and then go run routes against a corner, right? And he doesn't ask for the football. He doesn't care if he has 50 catches, 2 catches, 1 catches. He just loves this game. So I think on top of his production, right, it's more everything that he's offered, right, from the untangible standpoint that he needs to keep delivering, right? And you can feel it. Everybody feels how he plays.
On Saturday, there were a couple drops early, mainly with the weather and kind of adjusting to that. But as the game went on, it seemed like some of those guys that had the drops were coming down with some catches later. How would you assess their adjustments throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the weather, weather, both teams face the weather. It's not something that we can, use it as an excuse. We got to make sure we get better in that category, right? There was some, some third down stuff that we had to convert early on. One of the stressing points was starting fast, and we probably didn't have that checklist because of that. But I think, you look at today's practice, it was raining, right? And we had a better day with that. So I think the biggest thing is really just the intentionality behind that aspect of something that we didn't do well in the game, and we got to make sure that we practice better for. And we did that today, and it's realistically probably the same, weather that it was this past Saturday. But I thought they did a good job of responding. I think the biggest thing is that you never saw anyone put their head down. Drops are a part of the game. It happened, right? And they did a good job of moving on and continue, right, to play for each other.
Coach, how'd you feel after you watched the film from Saturday?
I don't even remember Saturday. No, it was good. It was good. I think they played hard. They played fast. I think there was a lot of good things on tape. Obviously, immediately move on and you're focused on the next week and things we got to do better from Saturday that they could exploit going forward. Things that maybe didn't quite hit on Saturday that didn't get noticed, but things we can get better at. But obviously, overall, good day when you can, do that well against an offense that talented. Can't be upset, but definitely moving forward on to the next one.
Talk about Trent a little bit and what he's meant to your defense. Obviously, the numbers that he put up and earning some honors this week. But what's he meant to you and this defense since you got here?
Yeah, I mean, the leadership, right? The way he, controls the locker room and puts his best foot forward at every meeting, every practice. He's just consistent, and the guys follow him. He loves football. He brings the energy every day. It's really important to our success.
Talk about moving on. What are you seeing from Georgia State?
Another really talented group of players led by an offensive coordinator that was obviously an NFL head coach. So, I mean, really talented room, schemes tough to defend against. Obviously, they've had some tough scores, but against some really, really good football teams that some of which I played against last year. So I know how talented they are, and I know how talented Georgia State can be to be able to get open and run the ball against those teams.
Sounds like the
Good.
please.
Outside of a few maybe big runs, this run defense has been really clicking for you guys. What do you think has been kind of what sets them above some of their opponents?
Just continually talk about the depth and rolling 10, 11 guys that play really hard. When we can do that and keep the energy really high, they might hit you on a play or two, but can wear them out over the course of the game, and we talk a lot about that, right? Can we put the best guys' energy, if it's 2 and 3 guys deep at each position, we're going to wear them out as the game goes on, and I think that's something that we take a lot of pride in.
When we talked to Coach Chesney yesterday, he was talking a lot about Ted Hurst. He had a lot of high praise for him.
Mm-hmm.
What are kind of some of the things that have stood out as you've seen the tape with him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to see. I mean, they throw him the ball and he catches it no matter where it is, and he gets deep, he takes screens, he takes quick game, he takes intermediate routes. So he's a pretty diverse receiver that has a great skill set, and but it's not just him, right? Like, you can't – I think what makes him great is you can't focus on him so much because they got great backs. They got good opposite receivers of him. They roll a bunch of receivers, so you got to be ready for them all. They got multiple quarterbacks playing, so you can't just lock in on an individual player. But we got to do a good job being physical and wearing them out.
I know last week you talked about being able to move DJ around a lot within the defense, but yesterday JT was talking about his role within the pass rush game expanding and him moving around at different spots, and he talked about how a lot of that was trust with you and you having trust in him to do that. What did you kind of see on or off the field that you knew you could put him in situations like that?
I mean, a lot for us is we have some experienced guys that have played a lot of ball, so they've been in different situations and different defensive schemes. So we just use their skill set to the best of their advantage. And, if that means, you're a safety rushing the passer on a few snaps, then that can get us the best angle, then we're going to use you. So I think just keeping them versatile and putting them in situations to be successful within the scheme. But keep it fun, keep it moving around. As long as they know what they're doing and they play hard, right, we're going to have a lot of success.
For the last couple of weeks, Emmanuel Eziogo has seemed to really have some key plays as a younger player. What have you seen out of his development?
Oh, he just a lot of fun, right? A lot of energy when he's out there. I think he brings an edge, a little nastiness to it, and he plays really hard. He's a Virginia guy, stay at home. It means something to him for our success, and it's a lot of fun to watch him get after the quarterback.